At my daughter's engagement party, my husband brought a girl who looked 60 like me to disrupt the party. He held up a DNA test report. Wife, the hospital took the wrong child back then. This is our biological daughter. The girl didn't say a word and burst into tears regardless of the occasion. The guests around were talking about it as if I would be an unforgivable sinner if I didn't recognize him in public today. The most embarrassing scene in my life was caused by my husband. Today was supposed to be the engagement party of our only daughter, Qin Xian's Yandan Zhu Xiao, the eldest son of the Zhu family, but Qin Zhang brought a strange young girl to disrupt the party. She danced on the stage and signed a marriage certificate with Zhu Zhao in the presence of relatives and friends. Fourth aunt gave me a look, and it was about to be the turn for both parents to speak on stage, but I couldn't find them. Qin Zhang called her more than a dozen times, but no one answered. Zhu Xiao's mother Liu Lu is my friend for many years. She held my hand tightly and said, "Jingyi, don't think too much. You will go up with us later." Lao Qin must have encountered an emergency. Qin Zhang is an idle person. What kind of emergency can he have? Even if he did, what emergency could be more important than Yan's engagement? I know Qin Zhang is a bit patriarchal. When I gave birth to Tianziang, I had a dystocia. In order to save my life, I had to remove my uterus and could no longer have children. For this reason, she was a little resentful of Pianxian, but today is a very important day in Pianxian's life. She shouldn't disappear without saying a word anyway. A surge of anger surged in my heart, but I could only hold it back. It's not a trivial matter for a wealthy family to marry. Many business partners have come to support it. I can't act on impulse, otherwise it will be the life of Tao and Zhu families. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, Lulu. I've embarrassed you and Lao Zhu." Yulu waved her hand. "Don't say that. It's a blessing for my father to marry your daughter." Didn't you just see that the silly boy's mouth was almost grinning? Hearing her say that, I finally felt a little happy. The two children are childhood sweethearts, and my daughter should be very happy after marrying him. "Let's go, Jingyi. It's time for us to go on stage." Well, Yulu and I walked onto the stage hand in hand. The door of the banquet hall was suddenly opened, and my lost husband suddenly appeared at the door. "I don't agree with this marriage." Behind her stood a timid young girl, whose face made me feel familiar. Qin Zhang's voice successfully attracted everyone's attention. The guests in the audience were silent, and a pair of curious eyes burst into inquiring light, and a sense of foreboding arose in their hearts. I quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. "Qin Zhang, I know you are reluctant to part with your daughter, but Pian has grown up and will eventually get married." As I spoke, I walked over and took his arm. A strange light flashed in Qin Zhang's eye. The next second, he pushed the girl behind him in front of me and said to me loudly, "My wife took the wrong child in the hospital that year. This is our biological daughter." I really wanted to chisel his brain open on the spot to see if there were fish in it. But the fact is that for the sake of face, I can only continue to force a smile. I deliberately hit him and scolded him with a smile. "Oh, naughty boy Qin can look frank, and here a couple came over." Zhu Xiao was a smart child. He immediately vowed, "Uncle Qin, don't worry, I will definitely take good care of Pian and won't let her suffer a little bit." The host was very discerning and quickly called on the guests to applaud. I thought this episode was so rounded off, but I didn't expect Qin Zhang to directly throw me a paternity test report. I have already done the test with Xiao Li, and she is my daughter. The huge banquet hall fell into an awkward silence again. I glared at Qin Zhang and signaled her to shut up with my eyes. But she was determined to ruin the engagement party today. She pushed the girl named Drew on Li in front of me again and began to question me mercilessly. "You feel sorry for the fake behind you. Why don't you feel sorry for your own daughter? Do you know what Xiao Li was doing when I found her? She was delivering food on the street under the scorching sun." When he said that, I realized that the blue coat on the girl was indeed very similar to the blue workflows uniformly distributed by a certain food delivery platform. He seemed to be frightened, and he burst into tears without saying a word. There were noisy discussions around, as if I would be an unforgivable sinner if I didn't recognize her in public today. I can indeed see the shadow of my youth in her facial features, but her big eyes that make me feel pity don't look like me or Kinzeng. The engagement party ended in a bad mood. Yulu and Lao Zhu were busy apologizing to the guests and arranged for the driver to send everyone back. The banquet hall that was still deserted half an hour ago became deserted. 4 people sat at a table. Tian's Yan and Dai sat at one end, Qin's Eng and Drew Anli sat at the other end. I have read the paternity test report that Qin's Eng brought. The sampling time on it was 3 days ago, but as far as I know, the results of the paternity test will take 10 to 15 working days to come out. I frowned. Qinzeng, where did you get this report? Seeing me ask this, Qinzeng was angry. Tao Jingyi, do you mean that I asked someone to forge an identification report? I didn't say that. Over the years, I have been busy with my career outside, and she has been idle at home. We have less and less common language, and often quarrel after just a few words. Jiangxian knew when she was very young that she would come to persuade her parents when they quarreled, but this time Pianxian didn't dare to speak. Qinzeng didn't like her anyway, and now talking would just hit him in the face, right? The incident happened suddenly, and I was a little dizzy for a while. Qinzeng pressed on step by step. Tao Jingyi, I really didn't expect you to be so cruel. You can't even deny your own biological daughter. You are worthy of being the decisive President Tao in the business world. Who said I didn't recognize her? I had a severe headache. After thinking about it, I said, to be on the safe side, it would be better for the 3 of us to do another identification. Qinzeng slapped the table, his face flushed red in the end. You just don't believe me. You have never looked up to me. You are not satisfied with anything I do. You have ulterior motives. At most, after we divorce, I will take Xiao and you will take your fate, Qinzhen. You should talk about reason. Do you have to quarrel with me in front of the child? The 2 of us quarreled with each other. In the end, it was Ru Anli who stood up first. He looked at me with a pair of red eyes and said, I will do the paternity test you want. No matter what the result is, I promise you that I will never appear in your life again. Xiao Qinzeng was extremely distressed. He held Zhang Li's hand and looked at me with reproachful eyes. Wait until the result comes out. If you insist on being stubborn, I will divorce you. Every time we quarrel, he threatens me with divorce. To be honest, my ears are calloused. The reason why he endured it all these years was that he was worried that Pian would be gossiped after the divorce. But now that I have lost face, I am too lazy to listen to him anymore. It's only 1:30 now. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right away. There is more than enough time. Tao Jingyi, do you really think I dare not divorce you? I looked at him indifferently. Then let's go. When he failed in his business more than 20 years ago, I thought about divorcing him. But it happened that our company was going to go public. I was also worried that it would have a bad impact on the growth of the child, so I kept dragging it on. Now it's different. Pian has grown up and the company is also very stable. I thought, but he was the father of the child, and it didn't matter if he raised an idler, but if he wanted to make trouble for himself and wanted to divorce me on his own initiative, I would accompany him at any time. The Tao family is rich and powerful. I can still live a prosperous life without him. On the contrary, he is an old parasite who has no special skills. Even when he applies for a security guard, people may not want him. Qinzeng's face was as purple as a pig liver in soft pear. He quickly pulled his sleeve and told him not to be angry. Don't stand up for me. I have my own hands and feet and can support myself. If I am not welcome here, I will leave. After that, he raised his foot and left. Qinzeng didn't care about arguing with me and hurriedly chased him out. Tianxian has not spoken since just now. I patted her hand. What are you thinking? She raised her eyes. Her eyes were sparkling, but she still bit her lips stubbornly, forcing herself to hold back. Mom, what if I am really not your daughter? Her tone made me feel distressed. I hugged her in my arms. If Mom is too old to walk today, will you abandon me because we are not related by blood? She said without thinking, Mom will always be my mom. I smiled. That's right. Tianxian, you have to remember that in this world, not only people with blood ties can be called relatives. Tianzhang did not return all night, and Tianxian came to me to sleep with a pillow in his arms at night. Under the silk quilt, her body was trembling slightly. After experiencing such a thing during the day, it was understandable that she was nervous. We were face to face, and she hugged my waist like when she was a child. Mom, I also want to do a paternity test with you. I was a little surprised. Pianxian, do you want to do the test? You are my daughter in this life. I know. She said word by word, no matter what the result is, you are my mother, but I can't always stay under your wings with peace of mind. I want to learn to become strong and learn to protect you. I must know the truth. Looking at her clear and calm eyes, I was relieved and distressed. Some abnormalities could not be hidden from his eyes. My Pianxian is really going to grow up, but her growth is destined to be accompanied by suffering and pain. 3 days later, Qin Zheng appeared again with Ruan Li. I contacted the family doctor and came to do a paternity test for the four of us. Ruan Li was very stubborn and left after completing the sampling. Qin Zheng had proposed that she stay at home, but he rejected it righteously. I don't want to rely on anyone, nor do I want to cause trouble for you. Nanny Chen Ma looked at her from behind and said to me, Mr. Ronling, not only does she look like you, but the stubbornness in her body is exactly the same as when you were young. I laughed. Is that so? Isn't it? Inch Chen Ma nodded heavily. I have watched the young lady grow up since I was a child. How could I not know what you were like when you were a child? Chen Hao is an old lady in the Tao family. I am not worried that she will be bribed by someone with ulterior motives, but what I find strange is that Run Li and I have never lived together. How could her personality be exactly the same as mine? Appearance, stature, and even IQ are related to genetics, but can a person's personality be inherited? These doubts have been circling in my mind. I even began to wonder if Qin Zheng had someone outside behind my back, but this is obviously impossible. Qin Zheng and I are each other's first love. He was born in the mountains and his family conditions are not good. Before we got married, my dad had specially sent people to his hometown to investigate everything in his village, and they were all checked over and over again. If there was any problem with him, this marriage would not be possible. And the year I was pregnant, it was the time when Qin Zheng and I had the best relationship. He was around me every day, and there was no chance for him to cheat. Could it be that something went wrong in the hospital and the two children were taken away by mistake? With these doubts, I called the private detective Du Feng. Lao Du, help me investigate 3 things, and the reward will definitely satisfy you. Du Feng's efficiency has always been very fast. The nurse who worked in the neonatal department at that time is still working in that hospital. He arranged for me to meet the nurse, but the result of the meeting was not what I wanted. The nurse recalled carefully for a long time and finally shook her head. Sorry, Mr. How it has been too long, I really can't remember. Newborns are born in the hospital every day, and it is indeed a bit difficult for him to remember every child he has taken care of. Although I didn't have much hope for this clue before the meeting, I was still a little disappointed. After sending the nurse away, I thought, if the level of technology more than 20 years ago was as advanced as it is now, this matter would be much easier to handle. Du Feng on the side laughed. Just such a small setback defeated our vigorous and resolute President Tao. It is normal to feel frustrated, and there is no law that stipulates that President Tao cannot be depressed. Okay, you put out everything you said. The cigarette butt in his hand took out a brown paper bag from his handbag. What is this? Du Feng smiled mysteriously and left me with a chic back. The second thing you asked me to is that the brown paper bag contains information about Ruan Li. Her mother, Ruan Yan, was a small star in the entertainment industry in her early years. She played small supporting roles in several well-known TV series. Later, she married a Hong Kong businessman and retired. Not long after the marriage, Ruan Yan became pregnant and gave birth to a daughter. They were originally a happy family of 3, but a year or 2 ago, the rich businessman accidentally discovered that the little princess he held in his palm was not his own, and in a rage, he kicked the mother and daughter out of the house. It is easy to go from simple to luxurious, but it is difficult to go from luxurious to frugal. After the divorce, Ruantian could not adapt to the new poor environment and was drunk all day long. The neighbors living nearby described that they had never seen Ruantian sober. When I talked about Ruan Li, everyone's evaluation was surprisingly consistent. He was good at studying, good-looking, warm-hearted, hard-working, and a good child. The only stain on him was that he had Ruan Yan, a 46-year-old mother. In order to study, Ruan Li has been working in a snack bar around the school since high school, and his life was not easy. After reading all the information, my heart could not calm down for a long time. The only intersection between this mother and daughter and us was in the hospital where I gave birth. As for Ruan, Li and Qin Zhang's meeting, it was a week ago. That to hold a meeting temporarily, so I asked Qin Zhang to drive to pick up the dress I was going to wear for the engagement party. On the way, he accidentally hit Ruan Li, who was riding a shared bicycle in the opposite direction. I remember that he called me that day and said that he had hit someone and wanted to take the injured to the hospital for examination. This was an accidental event. The meeting was an accident. Qin Zhang's fight for the clothes was an accident, and bumping into Ruan Li was also an accident. All the clues seemed to point to a result. But I always felt that the whole thing was weird, but I couldn't tell exactly where it was. Qin Zhang and I went to get the identification results, and neither of the two children came. The results showed that Ruan Li was the biological daughter of Qin Zhang and me, and Pian Pian had no blood relationship with us. It was visibly relieved by Qin Zhang. She found that I was looking at her, so she came over and said to me, Jingyi, I told you a long time ago that Xiao Li is our biological daughter. You see, she looks so much like you when you were young. Looking at her slightly excited face, I had a flash of inspiration and finally found the strangest thing in the whole thing. Qin Zhang was a little too enthusiastic about Ruan Li. She has always valued boys over girls, so she didn't like Pian Pian since she was a child. But on the day of the engagement banquet, she immediately accepted Ruan Li's identity based on an identification report and even embarrassed the Taoanzu families in public. I didn't say anything. Qin Zhang raised a smile. Wife, now the truth is out. Let's take Xiao Li home quickly. We can't let the child suffer in the future. I stood there. What about that ferry? How are you going to arrange it? What else can he arrange? Qin Zhang blurted out without thinking. Of course, each go home, each find a mother. This fake has occupied Xiao Li's place and has lived a good life of luxury for more than 20 years, and he should be content. At that moment, I was actually a little fortunate. Fortunately, I informed Zhu Xiao in advance yesterday and asked him to send Pian Pian away today. If his wife and children heard what their father, who had been with them day and night for 20 years, said just now, how disappointed they would be. I sorted out my emotions and asked, just drive Pian Pian out like this. Have you ever thought about how the Zhu family will look at her in the future, how people in the entire circle will look at him? And where will he be able to stay in this circle in the future? Qin Zhang looked at me with amusement. Jingyi, you are confused. It is a big deal to marry a rich family. The Zhu family will only marry our own daughter. I was stunned. So he actually thought so. I really didn't expect that Qin Zhang, who came from a poor family, would take the difference of family background so seriously. There are certainly business considerations for the two families to get Pian Pian and Zhu Xiao engaged, but the most important reason is that the two children love each other. In other words, if Tian Xian doesn't like Zhu Xiao, even if the Zhu family has mountains of gold and silver, I will not agree to this marriage. I am marrying my daughter, not selling her. Qin Zhang saw my expression and said, Wife, I just spoke too hastily without thinking. But don't I feel sorry for Xiao Li? This child has suffered too much over the years. Yes, she really feels sorry for Ruan Li so much she forgets everything else. He forgot that he would only smile so humbly when he asked me for money. Qin Zhang asked me to kick Pian Pian out, but of course I refused to agree. We had another fight about this. Finally, Su Zhao came over and said harshly in front of Qin Zhang, no matter whether Tian Xian is Aunt Tao's biological daughter or not, I will only marry her. Qin Zhang shut up in disgrace. Zhu Xiao was worried about Tianxian's mood after the sudden change in offer to take her on a trip. Tianxian held my hand and refused to let go. Mom, go ahead, go out and relax. I combed her hair for her. Didn't you always tell me that you wanted to go to Tibet with A Zhao? It's rare for him to take a vacation, so don't let him down. As soon as Pian Pian left, Xingsheng immediately arranged for Ruan Li to go home. After his repeated efforts, Ruan Li finally moved back to the Tao family. Ruan Li had very few personal belongings, and a 20-inch suitcase was enough to pack all her luggage. I asked her with a smile, "Why are there so few things? Did you leave anything behind?" She shook her head and said, "I don't have many things to begin with." This sentence was like a needle, which hurt Qian's Eng's heart all of a sudden. "It's okay, Xiao Li. Mom and Dad will just buy you new things, and you will never suffer again in the future." As she gently pushed me and said, "Your mother has good taste. Let her take you to the mall after dinner, and we can buy whatever we like." Ruan Li's eyes flashed with joy, but she soon lowered her head and pretended not to care. "No need to spend money. I'm just here to stay for a while, and I'll move out when I get my diploma and find a suitable job. It will be troublesome if I have too many things." She is very defensive towards people, but I changed my mind and thought that it is normal for a girl who has to worry about her livelihood since high school to have thorns all over her body. There is no beautiful and delicate flower in the dust. Thinking of this, I felt a little distressed and took the initiative to walk over and hold his hand. "We are a family. What are you talking about spending money? Mom is not going to the company today. Let's go shopping. Mom will buy you whatever you want and need." I took Ron Li to the high-end clothing store I often go to. A girl in her 20s is just like a flower bud. She looks good in anything. Every time she wears a piece of clothing, I will give her serious advice. Of course, I also respect her preferences. She doesn't have to agree. I just choose the style I like according to my own wishes. In the middle of the call, I received a call from Du Feng. The essay in the store was introducing the new styles of the season to Ruan Li. I walked to a quiet corner and pressed the answer button. "Lao Zhu, what do you say?" Brother Du Feng smiled. "The third thing has a result. And the things you asked me to check about soft sweet before marriage have also been found. Things are more interesting than we thought. I will send the things directly to your email." I was silent for 3 seconds and felt that something was wrong. I didn't go to work in the company today. My laptop was placed in the study. Xianzang knew the password of my computer. I couldn't take this risk. "Let's meet in the company later." Du Feng said, "Okay." I hung up the phone and turned around to find Ron Li standing behind me. I was startled and patted my chest. "How come you walk without making any sound? Could he have heard anything?" He smiled and said, "You are too focused." I looked at him with an apologetic look. "Xiao Li had agreed to spend more time with you today, but the company suddenly had an important client coming over, so Mom had to go back to the company." He interrupted me and said, "No need to explain so much. Just go and do your own thing." I was stunned and pretended to be very guilty. "I will go to pay now and I will take you home after the bill is settled." Ran Ling was a little confused. "You still ought to go home?" I said seriously. "I have to go back to get the computer. Some confidential files are not backed up by the company." When we got home, Kim Zhang was picking vegetables in the kitchen. When he saw us carrying bags of things in, he was suddenly happy. "Xiao Li, are you happy going out with your mother today? What good things did you buy?" Ruan Li nodded inferently and said she was happy, but there was no joy on her face. I put down everything in my hand and turned to the study to get the computer. "Kim Zhang, there is something urgent at the company. I have to rush over to meet a client. You and Xiao Li can have dinner. You don't have to wait for me." Ken was angry. He lay down and put the vegetable bowl in his hand heavily. "Zhao Jingyi, you only know how to work, work, work. Work, do you still have us, father and daughter, in this family in your eyes? It's okay that you are not at home normally, but today is Xiao Li's first day home. Don't you think you have gone too far? Look at other people's families. Is there any woman who is a wife and a mother like you?" I was so angry that I laughed. Look at what he said. If someone who doesn't know hears it, I'm afraid they will really think that I don't care about my family. Marrying Qin Zheng is the thing I regret most in my life. Qin Zhang's family was in a difficult situation, and he came to a big city to work after graduating from high school. When I met him, he worked in a cafe outside our university. At that time, Qin Zhang was a simple young man who was serious about his work and not good at speaking. Even if he liked someone, he would only dare to hide it in his heart. I know that we are from two different worlds, but it is his reserved, uncautious love. It has become a deadly poison that paralyzes my brain. This relationship was strongly opposed by my father, but I was tough and said that I would not marry him in this life. After marriage, in order to make my father recognize Qin Zhang, I made a lot of effort. I encouraged him to study relevant courses in business administration and strive for company projects for him. In the end, he even said that he didn't want to be called a man who relied on his wife for food. I also hid it from my father and secretly gave him money to start a business, but after a few years, he still achieved nothing. So I suggested again that he apply for adult college and go to school for systematic education, but she turned around and questioned me whether I despised her low education and was embarrassed to walk outside. I was completely chilled. If I despised him, would I him without hesitation? The phone in my trouser pocket vibrated twice, and Du Feng told me that she had already arrived downstairs at the company. I was too lazy to argue with Qin Zhang, so I took the car keys and turned to the garage. These days, I have always had a puzzle in my heart that I can't solve. Qin Zhang knew that the child's report was wrong only this month, but he has been away from Tianxian for many years. So, in my opinion, it is untenable to simply rely on the so-called unique psychological induction between biological father and daughter to explain his different treatment of the two girls. There must be some unknown secrets between him and Zhu Anling. For this reason, I later asked Du Feng to help me check some things about Ruan Yan before she got married. I parked the car and went straight to the office. On the way, I called the secretary and asked him to help me receive Du Feng first. Du Feng stood in front of the French window in my office to look at the scenery. Hearing the sound, he turned around and raised his eyebrows at me. Come here while I got myself a cup of warm water. I've been waiting for a long time. He came over and took out a laptop from his bag. 当时两位人在风雨来周个选票呢非常的接近，最后嘛 A wonderful story is worth the time to wait. There is a detailed information about Ruan Yan in the computer. This woman is actually very talented in acting. She is not a professional actress, but she has appeared in many hit dramas after entering the entertainment industry. If she persists, she will definitely have a place in the entertainment industry today. The turning point of his life came when he was 25 years old. He was involved in a scandal. A famous paparazzi exposed photos of dozens of actresses, including Ru Antian, attending a dinner party to accompany drinking, pointing out that these girls borrowed the bodies of young and beautiful, graceful girls on old and ugly capital tycoons. Such gossip has always attracted the public's attention. No matter what the truth is, these girls will be labeled as indecent and it will be difficult for them to make achievements in their career. The hand holding the mouse did not move for a long time. My eyes stayed on the ugly man. Du Feng beside me asked me with a smile. It seems that Mr. Xiao has found the key point. The man on the interface is called Chen Song. He started his business in real estate in his early years. When Qin Zhang asked me for money to start a business, he followed Chen Song to invest in real estate. In the late 1990s, it was originally a good time for the rise of real estate. The first wave of home buying fever began to surge across the country. Qin Zhang thought that this deal was a sure win, and he made all kinds of calculations, but he didn't expect that Chen Song would cut corners and build a shoddy project to save money. Later, there was a safety accident on the construction site, and 7 or 8 workers died. The house was unfinished and couldn't be sold, and the money invested in it naturally couldn't be recovered. It seems that Qin Zhang and Ru Antian met because of Chen Song. Ru Antian was kicked out by her rich ex-husband because it was discovered that Ru Anli was not her biological daughter. Then, think about it in a bloody way. Could it be that Qin Zhang and Ru Anyan had a relationship back then? After Ruwania was pregnant with Kinzing's child, she found a rich businessman. I asked Dufeng directly Ruan Li is Kinzing's illegitimate daughter. She handed me a stack of photos. Mr. Tao is a person who has seen many storms and waves, and his thinking can be more open and his courage can be bigger. You speak human words to me. The photos Du Feng gave me were the ones I entrusted him to help me investigate. The third thing, I asked him to check whether Ruan Li had plastic surgery. Ruan Li's eyes are what I found strange from the first time I met him. His facial contours, nose and lips can all be seen in my youth, so why are his eyes different? I don't look like King Zheng either. I want to know whether Ruan Li's face, which is 60 similar to mine, is naturally grown or carefully carved with a scalpel. The time span of the photos is very long, from when Ruan Li was 10 years old to when she was 25 years old, and the girl in the photos did not change too much. These photos are like a long timeline slowly recording Ruan Li's growth process from a girl to a girl. In a similar period of time, every change of his is reasonable. But putting his 10-year-old photo and the 25-year-old photo together, you can see the changes at a glance. When Ruan Li was a child, his face was wider and his mouth was a little bald. But when he grew up, Ruan Li had a melon seed face and a cherry mouth, which made him look more delicate. Obviously, the result is I pinched the photo and the joints turned slightly white because of excessive force. Did you only find these photos? Is there any record of him going to a plastic surgery hospital for treatment? If there were only photos, I'm afraid Ruan Tian unheard ought not easily admit it. Du Feng snapped his fingers and took out another stack of information. It was the medical records of Ruan Li's several trips abroad for plastic surgery after he became an adult. I was very surprised. Where did you find it? Generally speaking, plastic surgery hospitals will not easily disclose customer information. Du Feng said proudly, Mr. Tao, money makes the world go round, and what can beat money is of course more money. Look, he is so proud. If he had a tail, I am afraid he would wag it for 3 days and 3 nights. I sorted out the information and glanced at him. He didn't leave even though the business was done. Du Feng smiled and asked, when do you plan to pay the balance? This miser is really obsessed with money. I said angrily, I will pay you the balance at the end of this month. He bargained and asked me to pay it in 3 days. Is that okay? Du Feng, we are friends who wear open crotch pants. Can't you give me some time to deal with these daring dogs first? He looked at me unlaughed without any scruples. After a long time the laughter stuck. He said to me, Jingyi, if you are angry, just vent it. Don't hold it in. On the way home, I called Yan Jian to ask when she would be back. He said, did the things I asked you to do next week go smoothly? Pianxian hummed, and his voice sounded a lot more cheerful, and I was relieved. I planned to hold a small party at home next Saturday. You can tell Zhu Xiao and ask him to come with you. Since this group of jackals and tigers dare to set their sights on me, I must be prepared to bear their anger. After returning home, Ruan Li had already gone back to her room to sleep, but Kinzang was in the living room. He had a dog face, as if I owed him hundreds of millions. Normally, I would ignore him, but today was different. I had to take the initiative to set a trap for him, so I could only hold back my nausea and talk to her. He snorted and said in a yin and yang tone it was shocking that Mr. Tao was so busy that he still had time to go home. I told him straight to the point that I wanted to hold a small family welcome party at home with Ruan Li next. He was half believing and half doubting, so I slapped him on the knee and said, Kunzhang, what's wrong with you? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Kinzang was afraid that I would really do it, so he quickly hugged me and his arms uncoaxed me. What's the matter? What's the matter? Wasn't I too surprised and didn't react for a while? Oh, you love your daughter, so I am the stepmother, right? Kinds anxious me on the cheek and said, it's a deal. We will hold a welcome party for Zhaoli next Saturday, and you are not allowed to run away again. I will not be absent even if the king comes, so how could I be absent from cleaning up the house? On Saturday, Kinzang got up early in the morning to get busy. Looking at her excited figure, I laughed out loud. Kinzang held a welcome party. Are you so happy? Kinzang hummed a little song. This is for my own daughter. How can I not be happy? Okay, for the sake of many years of marriage, let this fool dream for a while longer. I glanced at the second floor. Xiaoli hasn't come down yet. She's probably picking out clothes in her room. You can go up and take a look. Didn't you say you wouldn't come back home? In just half a month, she really thinks she's a rich lady. I could vaguely hear him talking on the phone from the closed door of Li's room. Mom, don't worry. This stupid woman is easy to fool. A few forged appraisal reports will do the trick. Well, I'll be careful. After I clean up Kit Young's yarn on Tao Jingyi, I'll take you over to enjoy the good life. Or maybe she's really arrogant. Is it too early for her to say this? It's still unknown who will win. Taking a deep breath, I put on a kind mask and knocked on the door. Xiao Li, is it convenient for Mom to come in? When she heard my voice, she was flustered for a moment. Then you come in. Pushing open the door, I saw Ruan Li standing in front of the fitting mirror, wearing a pink and purple fisted dress. I deliberately asked, "Why did you sound weird just now?" "Is it? I was just zipping up my zipper. Is this skirt too demanding for a good figure?" I have to say that she has inherited the true art of being soft and sweet, and she is really talented in acting. I didn't ask any more questions and took the initiative to change the subject. Zhang Wen will help you. My fingers brushed across her jade-like skin, and I sneered in my heart. Such a beautiful skin actually grew on a monster with evil intentions. It was really a waste of nature. I looked at the face in the mirror that looked like me and smiled slightly. Our Shaoli is really beautiful. I really hope that time today can pass faster and the welcome party in the evening can start earlier. After hearing this, Ruan Li lowered her head shyly. The moment she lowered her eyes, a hint of pride flashed quickly in her eyes. At 4:30 in the afternoon, the doorbell rang, and Qin Zhang hurried to open the door and glanced at the door, but the LCD screen turned back with a cold face. I deliberately asked, "Who is it?" "Qin Zhang, why didn't you open the door?" She pulled a face and asked me in a satisfied tone, "Tao Jingyi, did you ask Qin Yangzian to come back today?" I hummed lightly, and Qin Zhang exploded. "What do you mean? You have to let him come today," deliberately to annoy Xiao Li, right? The doorbell rang again. I put down the business magazine in my hand, walked over and opened the door myself. I didn't think so. I just simply felt that on such a happy day, the more people, the better. As they were talking, the entrance door was pushed open, and Pian walked in holding Zhu Zhao's hand, and the well-trained bodyguards followed behind them with a man and a woman. I turned my head to look at Ruan Li, and saw that her delicate face was pale, and I smiled with satisfaction. "Xiao Li Yang's grace is greater than your biological grace. I kept it a secret from you, and brought your adoptive mother over. You don't mind, do you?" Ruan Li didn't answer me. She couldn't speak. Instead, Qin Zhang stood up and protected Ruan Li behind him. "Tao Jingyi, I really misjudged you. No wonder you took the initiative to help Xiao Li hold a welcome party that day. After waiting for such a long time, it turned out to be a Hongmen banquet. Wow, anyone who sees it can't help but feel the father's love overflowing." I walked towards him and slapped him neatly. "Qin Zhang, have you eaten too much in recent years and your brain is not working well? Who gave you the courage to stand in my villa and yell at me?" He was obviously stunned by my beating, covering his face with disbelief in his eyes. "You actually dared to hit me. I hit you, you traitor. It's fine that you teamed up with two outsiders to frame me, but you don't even have a brain, and you are still happy to help others count money after being cheated." Idiot Qin Zhang was going to explode. I knew that Tao Jingyi, you looked down on me from the bottom of your heart. What she cares most about in her life is that others look down on him and say that he is not smart. But a person's face must be earned bit by his own strength. He can talk about it with his conscience. Who can he blame for others looking down on him? Besides, I stared at her. This is the reason why you and Drew and Tian are in collusion and slander Pian's Yan as not my daughter. Qin Zhang was stunned. You know everything. Who is he looking down on? He thought that if he bribed the family doctor and asked him to replace the samples of Ruan Li and Pian's Yang, their scheme of replacing the prince with a cat would be perfect. I am really anxious about his IQ. Qin Zhang's money can indeed make the devil push the mill, but compared with financial resources, how can you hide it from me? After being exposed by me, Qin Zhang simply played a rogue. Xiao Li is my biological daughter, and the Tao family is not short of this money. What's wrong with me taking him back to take care of him? If you don't like it, at worst, we will divorce. I smiled playfully. You don't think that you can get half of my property by divorce, right? Do you think the prenuptial agreement was signed in vain? After Qin Zhang's little trick was exposed by me, his face turned the color of liver. He stiffened his neck and said angrily, "Your father forced me to sign it. It has no legal effect at all. I should have half of your property." Before the marriage, my father asked Qin Zhang to sign a prenuptial agreement. The general content of the agreement was that if we divorced in the future, Qin Zhang would have to leave the house with nothing. The agreement was notarized in a formal notary office. He actually felt that it had no legal effect. His brain was really kicked by a donkey. I crossed my arms in front of my chest and said softly, "Ruan Li is your child, and you believe it?" Qin Zhang didn't understand my hidden meaning and said something very naive. "Don't try to sow discord between us, father and daughter. We have done a paternity test. How can there be such a stupid person in the world?" I was so angry that I almost couldn't breathe. And Jian came over to help me pat it to calm down. "Mom, are you okay?" Looking at my daughter's worried face, I have never been so grateful as I am at this moment. Grateful did not inherit the IQ of his silly father. I patted Tianxiang's hand, signaling her not to worry about the money, and to hold my hand first. "Mom, let me tell you the next thing." Tianxiang took out two appraisal reports from her bag. "Dad, this is the examination we did at a formal institution. I am the biological daughter. She is not your daughter. You have been deceived by the..." Qin Zhang snatched it and took a look. His face changed drastically, but he still felt that this was a trap set by us. "It was impossible. This must be forged by you." I really couldn't help but complain. "Qin Zhang's brain is better than yours. You can make a fake appraisal to deceive me. Can't they make a fake report to deceive you?" The evidence of lying was placed in front of Qin Zhang, but he was still obsessed. "Xiao Yanan are sincere to each other. She will never lie to me." I laughed in anger, took out the relevant information about Ru and Li's plastic surgery, walked straight to Ru and Tian, and said with a smile, "Miss, we'll give you two choices now. Either I will call the police now and let the police intervene in investigation, or you will tell Qin Zhang in person whether Ruan Li is his biological daughter." Time passed by 1 minute and 1 second, and after a long time, Ru and Tian finally spoke under Qin Zhang's eager gaze. "Brother Zhang, I'm sorry I lied to you. Xiao Li, she is not your daughter." As soon as the voice fell, the light in Qin Zhang's eyes disappeared completely. "Why?" She completely collapsed. "I have been sincere to you and your daughter for these years. Why did you lie to me?" "It is because you are so good to me that I will do this. We want to be an open family with you. It is worthy of being a person who has been in the entertainment industry. The acting skills are not inferior." I couldn't help but applaud her back then. No wonder Ruan Li is so good at acting at a young age. It turns out that she got the true teachings from your mother. I am really curious. Didn't you choose Qin Zhang because he is easy to deceive? Ru Antian raised her head with a pair of big eyes, and I felt pity for her. "Mr. Tao, I know I did something wrong. Don't blame Brother Zhang. He is a good man. Why would he not admit defeat at this point? But if you think about it, you can understand that Shuang Wang had plastic surgery to imitate me. In order to join the rich family he and Ruan Li have paid too much and too expensive a price. They can't afford to lose, but how could I let him win? I am tired of watching this scene and I am too lazy to argue with them." I turned my head to look at PMPN and said, "Call the police. Stammers should go to where? They should go and squat." "No, you can't call the police." Qin Zhang's mind turned at this time and he suddenly pounced on PMPN. Fortunately, Zhu Xiao was quick-witted and pushed him away. My heart was lifted up, and I said anxiously, "Tianxiang, are you okay?" Tianxiang shook her head. Qin Zhang had been controlled by the bodyguards. I hurried to him, unslapped him again. "Qin Zhang, that's your daughter." She probably knew that I would never let them go anyway, so she started to curse. Tao Jingyu, why are you so fashionable? It's just a few bucks. I didn't want to argue with you these years. Look at your shrew. You can't compare with Auntie Anne at all. What's the heir of a rich family? I shouldn't have been soft-hearted and married you, a useless thing who can't give birth to a son. He kept cursing, and the bodyguards couldn't cover his mouth. The villa didn't return to silence until the police came and took the three of them to the police car. Jiang Fan's Yan came over and hugged my mother. Are you okay? It's okay, I'm fine. It's really no accident that Qin Zhang and I have come to this point today. This relationship has been unbalanced from the beginning, not only in material terms, but more importantly in spiritual terms. When the hormones of love dissipate with the passage of time, only people who cherish each other's souls can support each other through a long life. I'm glad that I woke up not too late, and I don't have to tie the rest of my life to such a disgusting person. Because of the irrefutable evidence, Qin Zhang and Drew and Tian, mother and daughter, were later arrested. The following year, Pian and Zhu Xiao held a grand wedding. This time, there were no unexpected guests at the wedding banquet, only steady happiness.